Welcome to Living Like Vacation. This is a show where we live our best life and find others doing the same. I'm Joe.
And I'm Gary.
We're glad you joined us. Let's live like vacation.
Today we're podcasting from Club Joe. When you're looking for a fresh Mai Tai, you can't beat one from Club Joe.
And today we're going to discuss the concept of living like vacation and explore the idea on a daily basis. But first up, I want to lay a few ground rules. Have you ever gone on vacation and maybe somebody is not having a good time?
Oh yeah, I've been on that vacation.
Yeah, there's the dad. I like to pick on the dad. He's like hauling all the gear. His family's screaming. You know, they're all running around.
The family mule, as I like to call it.
Yes, the family mule. And so, you know, that person's done everything. They've booked their trip, you know, and then when they get there, they're just not quite there yet.
Yeah.
So I think that right now, you know, when we think about this show, we want to think about, you know, we don't want arguing. You know, we don't want any sad faces. We just want some good vibes, just a good feel.
Yeah, we need like the good part of the vacation where you get into the room, you wash your face off, you change out of your travel clothes, and you go downstairs and you get that first drink and you walk right outside and sit by the water and you start drinking it. You know, that's the part.
That's the part. That's the living like vacation. Yep.
Well, before we get started, let me introduce our guest of the day, which just so happens to be Joe Peters, the creator of Living Like Vacation. And Joe, I just want to thank you for inviting me to be the co-host of your podcast. I look forward to this adventure.
Sure. And I'm excited too. You know, there's a lot that goes into this, and we're excited about kicking it off. So thank you for joining us on our first podcast.
Yeah, welcome. Should we jump right in?
Let's do it.
All right. So what does it mean to live like vacation?
So living like vacation is more of a mindset. So you're living your daily life, and you know, you go on a vacation, and when you get to that vacation, what is it that you do on that vacation that makes you feel like you're on vacation? Like, what if you're that guy that's hauling all that stuff around? What got that person to that point? And can you do that frequently on more of a daily basis? So to live like vacation is to put yourself in that mindset of being able to do that on a consistent basis.
It takes a lot of preparation to get to that point.
It does. And some days may be different than other days to get to that place.
I like to have just the right clothes, and you know, you got to get the drink at just the right temperature.
I don't know that I could do that every day, but I could definitely, if I had the option, could possibly do that every day.
Well, just dressing comfortably.
Yes. I will say that wearing tight clothes and uncomfortable shoes is not living like vacation.
It's not really like living like vacation. But if you have the right cold drink, it can improve the situation.
It can make you forget about those tight shoes.
That's right. Tell me, Joe, where did you come up with the concept for living like vacation?
Well, years ago, I was working in a large city, and I was in a cubicle all day.
How many years ago?
It's been over 20 years ago.
Woo, it's a long time. What city?
It was in Greensboro, North Carolina.
Oh.
It was before
Great city.
They finished 40, so I had like this section of I-40. If you know where Greensboro, North Carolina is, it's more of it's the middle of the state, so a lot of transportation comes through there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they have a big FedEx hub, a lot of shipping goes through there. Anyway, at that time, there was a 4-lane road that is now like 8 lanes. And I would sit on that road, and there would be this guy with this backpack, and he would be walking. And literally, I'm not going any further than this guy is walking. And it wasn't just the traffic, it was the consistent like grind. I'm like, man, I can't do this forever. Like I'm not going to do this forever. There's got to be a better way. And so that's when it started to resonate with me that I need to find a way to live my life, whether it's here in Greensboro or somewhere else where I can live a vacation lifestyle. I always remember the calendar that you would get that had all the beach scenes on.
Oh
it.
yeah.
You're looking at that calendar like, man, I wish I was laying out on that beach right there.
That's why everyone hangs it in their cubicle.
Yes. And I would look at that like, I can't. here I am. I can't keep doing this. So gray in here.
Yeah.
So.
And you can live your best life in Greensboro, but you might want to be the guy walking, getting that exercise, and enjoying nature a little.
100%. 100%.
He wasn't fighting with traffic.
No, he was not.
He was walking around laughing.
Yes.
How do you live like vacation now?
So what I do now is I try to take some part of my day on a daily basis and get into that mindset. I like to think about, what would I do if I was on a resort today? What would I do? Is there an excursion I would take? Is there a delicious meal that I would try? Is there something in particular? Is there a place that I would just kick back and relax? And I try to find that on a daily basis, and I don't necessarily write it down like, hey, you live like vacation when you sat out on the bench in front of your house. I have this little bench in front of my house. It's nothing. It's literally like this little metal bench. And when I get off work, I like to sit on that bench. I don't know what it is. It just makes me feel good. I get my music, and I just sit on that bench. It's just a mindset for me.
See, when I get home, well, obviously, first thing I'm going to do is change into my vacation clothes.
That's part of it.
That's step one. And then I like to get my daughter, and we like to hop on the golf cart because, we're fortunate to live in a golf cart community. And we ride down to the park, which they just happen to redo. And we'll spend a little bit of time there. And that's a little bit like vacation. There's a little pond there. It's a nice atmosphere. Kids are having fun. They can play with other kids. So I can just kind of rest and forget about the worries of the day.
And get your moment. You sort of get that mindset.
Oh, yeah. And then, then start thinking about that meal that you're going to have.
Yes.
I think like you said, even when you're traveling or you're working and you're doing that traveling, that's part of being on vacation. And you plan out a meal, you go to town, you have something to eat, you might look up a place, even if it's just work, like maybe skip the normal place that you would go to, your go-to place, and try to find that place off the beaten road. We're in Eastern North Carolina, maybe that barbecue place, or maybe that hot dog place, or maybe that burger at the beach, or that shrimp burger at the beach. It's one of the best.
One thing I've found too that we have that are not, and if you were honest, let's say that we all on this podcast, we all like hopped in a plane and we flew to the Caribbean. One of the excursions from that resort, I will guarantee you, would be to a national park.
That's true.
And a lot of the parks that we have here in America are wonderful parks.
Great park.
So if you were to fly into a certain place, it's not like you're not going to go to the Grand Canyon. It's kind of a park, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
So most of the places that we go that are excursions are actually, they may have a little fee, but they're part of the parks.
That's
so
true.
Anybody can do it. You don't need a lot of money to do this. Have that.
Yeah, and that was kind of my next question was like, how can others do what you're doing and live like vacation? I know we've touched on it a little bit, but what else can they do?
Well, I think I'm a guy that usually packs my lunch. So I'm a PBJ guy. Like I love a good PBJ. And take that peanut butter and jelly and go to a park and eat it. You don't have to eat it at that gray office. Now maybe you do. Maybe that's part of what you have to do. Maybe you get up early and eat breakfast somewhere outside.
The key to that might be the nostalgia of eating that peanut butter and jelly and bringing you back to those early years. That's why I eat ham and cheese sandwiches, and I love them. And one thing I used to do when I was on a courier route as a younger fellow, and I would take the ferry from Minnesota over to Cedar Point, I believe. I'd take it every day, and I would make sure I would arrive there right at noon, and I would eat my sandwich on that ferry. And I felt like every day, just for that 20, 30-minute ferry ride, I was on vacation.
Yeah. And I think that part of it, too, is, I will tell you this is really, this is just me. I love peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. So we took a really nice trip to the South Pacific several years ago. And at breakfast, they had peanut butter and jelly on the condiments. And so I took a piece of bread, a piece of the loaf bread, and I brought the jelly and the peanut butter back, and around 10:30, 11 o'clock, I'm back there at the little hut on the water making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Shout out to peanut butter jellies.
They're getting a lot of Jiffy's doing well this podcast. Now, tell me, can you have more than one living like vacation activity?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think that's where people get kind of stuck with this, is they feel like they've got to have some major thing that they do. For me, it's I like to paddleboard, so I get up early in the morning. I couldn't seem to do that activity at lunch. I've got to work. And then when I get home, I really want to spend time with my family. So I'm going to detach from my family that I really want to see, and I'm going to go get on this paddleboard and spend an hour out there. It just didn't work for me. So for me, my time to live like vacation is in the morning. I get on that board, I cruise up the river, and I turn around and I watch that sunrise, and it's just awesome. It's like, man, I'm living this great life. I'm so thankful and grateful. And look at this, And so I think you've just got to find some time in your day to do it. And I think more people, if you're honest, it's not fun to get up earlier, but you could get up earlier.
If I woke up earlier, then I would not be living like vacation. So, like I said, that's why I like to sleep, get to work right on time, and then when I leave, then I start
Then you get on
my
vacation. Okay.
Which always involves my family, And also, if I'm downtown, in the afternoon getting lunch, walking around in a downtown, that's a cultural experience. For me, that's vacation. So I might pop into a store and say hey to whoever the merchant is and have a chat with them. I do that when I'm traveling too.
Yeah.
I want to know about that area. That's who you're going to ask.
Yep, that's right. That's right.
That's a good way. And you do that a lot with your travel. I mean,
I
you
do.
travel the region.
I do. And another thing that I find that I really enjoy is I really like to get in my car and just cruise. Sometimes it's just an aimless cruise. Like, I'm just going to cruise here. I want to cruise to this town, and I'm going to cruise to downtown. And it's something about driving a car if you're a car guy, or girl. If you're cruising through a town at night and the lights are going on and there's some energy there, it's just something about being around that. Don't necessarily need to get out of the car and be in the middle of it, but just that sense. And again, it goes back to music for me, because I might have a good tune and I just kind of crank up.
What would you play if you're cruising? What's your cruise music?
I like the Cars. I like Magic.
Yeah.
I play that song Magic by the Cars a lot. It's just kind of
I typically play classic rock.
feeling good song. Yeah, some of it's classic rock. It just depends on my mood at the moment. Yeah.
I might play some beach music, especially if I'm at the beach.
You do some of that.
Depends on the time of year. Obviously, Christmas season, I'm just going to play Christmas music.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
How do you find time to do it?
Well, I think you've got to make time to do it. So, if it's that, if you're like to cruise or something like that, maybe you set aside some time that evening, or like I said, for me, paddleboard. Sometimes it could be very spiritual time, where you're just kind of meditating and just have a place where you go and do that. It's just a sort of a mindset of just kind of, hey, if I was on vacation right now and I was at this resort, I would do that. I would do that thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be different for everybody. Some people, it's fishing. They like going fishing. I'm not a fisherman, but some people, man, they fish all these really cool places. Other people golf. I don't golf. They get pumped up about going to different golf courses.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of things like that. And that's what makes it neat, is that not everybody has the same interest. I mean, some people look at me like I'm paddleboarding, like, man, that guy's like exercising. I don't want to do that on my vacation. But I love doing that.
Yeah.
So I think everybody's different on how they relate to that.
You must be a buy-in for it too, because if you're, mother, father of 5 children, and you work and you get home and there's always children, like you don't get time to yourself unless you were to explain to those children that this is my time, just like you need your time, and you got to get the family to buy into it and understand how that living like vacation is important for everyone. That way, if you get in, have a nice soak in the tub, or like I said, a nice paddleboard, whatever it is, a nice walk through the neighborhood, even if it's just sort of one of the kids, a little date night, I think that's probably important too.
I think it is. And I think, there's family vacations. So, it could be something as simple as just taking the kids to a picnic and cooking out of the park. You don't have to cook at the park. You could just pack some sandwiches and just go to a park. Take some of the bread and feed the ducks or the turtles or something like that.
Take the kids so your significant other will get some time to themselves.
That's right.
For their living like vacation. Now you've got your living like vacation with your child, and then they've got their own thing. My wife likes to take time when I go out, and she does some calligraphy,
Yep.
and that's her vacation.
Yeah.
What if you don't have anything to live like vacation?
Well, that's sometimes where you've got to kind of do some self-awareness and say, okay, well, for me, I like to cook on the grill.
Mm-hmm.
It's one thing to cook on the grill because I've got to feed the family, got to get something out. We've got to get these hot dogs on the grill. Boom, we got to go. It's another thing to go out there and have some ribs or a pork tenderloin or something like that. I'm going to smoke this thing. It's going to take 4 or 5 hours. And I'm going to pour the apple juice on it, and I'm going to do all this stuff to get this thing and the satisfaction of after you've cooked something like that. To me, I mean, that is awesome. And sometimes the cheaper the grill, the better the meal. If you've got some good charcoal and just the old school grill, sometimes that could be something that can just dominate, as far as food goes. But when you look at something like that, you've got to think about it from yourself. What is it that that you can do or get you in that state? Other people I've talked to, when I've brought this concept up over the years, is they have an area where they just sit at their home. Mm-hmm. Like my mom has a spot in her backyard where she just sits back there in her chair. She's got like this little fountain of water, and
right.
And she's like, I'm out here on vacation, son, and that's all you need. You don't need a whole bunch of stuff.
I have 2 spots. I have a winter spot on my back porch and a summer spot where I like to sit, when I'm on vacation. I also like to reminds me of the Sinbad Christmas movie where he's grilling cheeseburgers in the winter. I like to grill in the winter because then it makes you think of the summer and vacation. You ever do that?
Yes, I do think
that's always a lot of fun. It's just a simple thing to do. You go throw a couple burgers on. It's cold, but you forget that it's cold out there.
That's right.
You're just enjoying it. I know you like to play music while you're grilling too.
Oh man, and for me, music is such a vital part of the whole experience. When I'm paddleboarding, I've got reggae music going. I'm grilling. I've got the blues, like some old blues, B.B. King, and just barbecue. We're going to barbecue, and just something about that sound, just kind of gets me.
I'm gonna need you to set me up with some playlists for some of my vacations.
Yes.
I tend to lack music in it.
Yeah.
I guess my go-to for everything is Jimmy Buffett. So.
Okay, that is a go-to for about anything, really.
Why is living like vacation so important in today's world?
Well, I think today it's more important than ever because we have so much pressure on us. When I go all the way back 20 years ago when I'm working in that cubicle and I'm thinking, I just want to get ahead. Gary, if I could just get ahead, I'll get there. I'll get there. And then you work hard and you don't get there. And you think to yourself, you're in the hotel industry, in the hospitality world. These people, they work so hard to have a week. 1 week.
1 week.
You're going to work your whole year for 1 week?
Sometimes they don't even take the week.
Sometimes they don't even get the week. They get part of a week. Yeah. You work your whole year for a week when you could be doing that on a daily basis. I mean, I think that's what it is. So I think that when you look at the amount of time that people put into those sort of things, where they're spending all this time trying to have some sort of thing that matters, and then they get there and it's not that long when they could be doing that every single day. I think that's a big part of it.
Yeah, that's really important. Why is living like vacation so important to you?
Well, for me, it was awareness. For me, it was, hey, I'm not going to just bust it and have a week. Mm-hmm. I'm going to do this for myself. I'm going to do this because I'm trying to get ahead. So for me, that was what really mattered to me, was that I'm going to try to find a way to have this sensation of vacation on a consistent basis. But also it's important to me because I think people in general need to think about that. I think that having this show where we find other people that are living like vacation, I think it will open up my world is like, I never thought about that.
Yeah, that's a good way to be living like vacation.
It is. So the more that we interview people, the more that you listen, the more that you give us input on what your experiences are, the more we can talk about those things and more we can explore that topic. And we'll find ways of living this lifestyle more.
And that's how we can get started living like vacation.
That's right. That's how we can get started living like vacation.
Because that's what everyone wants to know. Like, how do I get started? How
Yes.
can I do this tomorrow? I've got so much on the calendar.
And I have people that ask me all the time, they're like, man, you're so happy. How are you always so positive? And honestly, it's this. It's like, hey, I have made a decision in my life that it's not going to suck. I'm going to live like vacation every day. I'm going to do my best. I'm going to tell you this. There are days where I have not lived like vacation. And I get a little grumpy.
Yeah,
I
like
get
the
a little
first day of travel.
It's the same thing. It's like,
Yeah.
man, I busted it today and I did not get my time. And so I'll get a little grumpy. So I'm aware of that because I'm spoiled now. I've been living like vacation so many days straight. I've been on vacation. So when one day happens and I don't get to do it, then I'm like resentful and grumpy. I've got to get back there tomorrow. I can get back on vacation. I can't keep doing this.
Yeah. You ever consider what would happen if everyone in your atmosphere was living like vacation? How much different things would
Can
be?
you imagine how positive? Like if the more people that would do this, that get to this sort of mindset and really kind of build a community around that, you know, it would just kind of it would just be such a positive vibe.
And I think you'd build a habit where you would not skip that 10-day trip or a 5-day trip, whatever it is a year, because you're doing muscle memory. You're used to taking a little vacation and you're starting to think about, all right, I like to walk this park in town all the time. I want to go see what the other parks are. Like you talked
That's
about, there's a
right.
national park everywhere. I want to go see them. And so I think, and then that's great for the hotels of the world. So,
Absolutely, it
so, I'm,
is.
so I'm happy. So now I can live my vacation because we're full every day.
That's right. That's right. You know, if you look at it, if you just take something like there's that All Trails app that you can look up, you know, and you go on there and there's all these different trails that you can hike. And then there's another one called Go Paddle that has like basically every boat ramp that you can paddle off of. I mean, there's so many things, and these things are free. There's so many vacation excursions that you can take that are. I looked at one the other day because we live on the coast, and I looked at one the other day just to see how many beach accesses there are in North Carolina. Just
How
North
many?
Carolina alone. I didn't count them. I
That
mean,
many?
there are hundreds of beach accesses. I mean, it's ridiculous. Like you could go to a beach access more than it would take you several years if you did it every single week for a year.
And then, yeah, you take that. Some people don't like the beach, but then you go to the mountains, and there's an overlook every so many miles.
Oh yes.
And every one that has a ton of people there, and they're all taking pictures and living their like vacation moment right
Yes.
then.
Yeah, so I don't think you have to live in a certain place to live like vacation. I think you can live like vacation everywhere.
Absolutely. I mean, you could, you know, I kind of grew up in when I grew up, when I moved to North Carolina, we just kind of lived in the middle of nowhere, and it was dirt roads and woods, but our vacation was walking around those dirt roads and having an adventure and going in the woods and finding that old house that's fallen down or an old cemetery that's been covered up since then, you know, riding the lawnmower around. That was living like vacation.
That was great. Those are great times.
Yeah, you're gonna have some little Debbie's later.
Yes.
some good drinks.
Or the freezer pop.
Oh yes.
Freezer pop, man.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Sometimes I still want those too. We've got some in the freezer, by the way.
Well, when you're a kid, a lot of times you are living like vacation.
Yes, you are
For
like
the most part.
summertime, especially.
Oh yes, definitely summertime.
You know, when I think about people that are living like vacation, sometimes I think about like artists, like or sports stars. You know, take somebody who's a famous like football player, basketball player, and you think, oh man, you know, what does that person do when they get home after they've kicked the football a few times, or they've shot basketball a few times, or somebody that's like a musician. A musician, what do they do all day?
Well, when you see the tabloids, they're always on vacation. They're always jet down to Miami or off to some crazy country or on some wonderful yacht. So
Yeah.
it seems like a pretty good lifestyle.
It seems like a great lifestyle, and so I'm plugging it away at work and whatever. And this person's, obviously they're not doing that because they've got to
Right.
practice.
But something did inspire them to write that music about such things.
This is true. So
there
I
must
think
be a mix.
yeah, it's got to be mixed. And I think having somebody like that, it'd be cool if we had somebody like that on the show that was an artist that would give us sort of, their take on how they maybe get to that moment, how they
Yeah.
live like vacation would be really, really be pretty good.
I think that would be great. I mean, we have some local artists here. Maybe, so we got arts, and we don't have a lot of sports teams here, but we could probably do like a musical art. I mean, you like music. We can get
Yeah, I like music. So.
you know who I think of when I think about lives like vacation and musical artists? Brian Mayer.
Yeah,
That guy.
that guy, man. He's always.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually spoke to him today. He's in Ocracoke. He's out on the Outer Banks. You know what a.
That's a vacation right there. And
That
he's
is a
probably
vacation.
working right now, but
Yes.
it's still a vacation.
Yeah,
Because-
he would actually be great.
Well,
Yeah.
let's talk to him and see if he'll come on the next one.
Okay, let's do that. Well, I hope you enjoyed our show today. I want to thank our sponsors. I'd like to thank Club Joe, our location sponsor. The best drinks, best friends, and best Mai Tais are Club Joe in Trent Woods.
I'd like to thank Aircoin, made for gullible cryptocurrency investors looking to avoid decades of profitability.
And Dollar Mattress, state-of-the-art technology in which you stuff it full of dollar bills. The more you invest, the better you rest.
We also like to thank Prepaid Divorce. When you don't want a prenup and you know it won't last, give Prepaid Divorce a call today. 1-800-TOLD-YOU. That's so wrong.
Look, thanks again for joining us. Live like vacation.